Adventures. It's Wednesday night. Let's hit the music. Well, you were here when the music stopped. Hey, welcome adventurers again. This is the Reptile Show Reporter live show. It is Wednesday at 8 p.m. East, and sometime on the West. It's like 5 o'clock or something like that, and that's daylight savings time. So I'm going to continue my protest, but we're not going to go into that too depth today. It's a good day to celebrate. Bill Strand, the headmaster of the Community Academy, is here with me again, and he invited a guest who's going to be a few minutes late. He's going to end up showing up late. So here's James Cross is here. True Turtle Tom was 4 seconds early. So, let's get this party started. It was like before 8 o'clock. He was always saying that. And then let's see here. James Cross is here. And Mikey Ben. All right. So I've gotten to the chat already. Let's get into the topic. Today we have Dean Mismer, who's from NorCal Grasshoppers, but he will be joining us in progress. So we'll get to him in a second. And we're going to talk about the Reptile Super Show in Anaheim.
That's right. Had a great Super Show. Oh, hey, Dean.
Hello.
Hey, Dean. How are you? All right. So
sorry for being late. I'm so unprofessional.
That's okay. First, Bill, any announcements?
Nothing spectacular other than we're going to continue my live. I do the live stuff for Chameleons, and I'm going to continue that Saturday. Going to be doing Chameleon Live, and I think Sunday I may be able to release a video on Sunday all about Panther Chameleon colors and what they mean.
All right. So, Dean.
Sorry for the delay.
Good to meet you. Any announcements for our viewers today?
Any announcement? No.
I told you weren't going to put them on the spotlight.
Grasshoppers or whatever. Whatever you'd like.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, I've been doing that for a while. So, yeah, I guess I'll just introduce myself. Oh, wait, first of all, I have a good excuse for being late. I'm actually sick. So everything took forever.
That's not a good excuse.
I'm just kidding. No, I am sick. So if I fall over, you can call 911, whatever.
All right, we'll call 911, but we'll keep going on with the show because the show must go on no matter what.
That's right. Sean's a taskmaster.
The show must go on.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Protect me.
All right. Sure. So that's why it's nice. This is nice because we're in different parts of the country. I'm obviously in a whole other part of the country. I know Bill and you are close by because you were able to both attend the show this weekend. But all right, so who is this? Eliza. What?
Eliza
Ann.
Okay.
Eliza Ann. Okay, boy, I didn't.
She is a denizen of the live shows.
Yes. So there. Hello, Chameleon friends. Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
All right. Let's see here. Let's.
Tom's calling me out
already.
Why don't I have a Dragon Strand caging booth at the Super Show? So for everybody here, I have a company that makes chameleon cages called Dragon Strand, and it is a reasonable question. Why isn't Dragon Strand at these shows? And the answer is because I can't. I don't have any inventory. I can't. I have a lead time, and I've had a lead time for the last almost 10 years. And
so you're way too popular to sell at the show because you wouldn't be able to supply them.
I don't have anything to bring to a show.
Okay.
And this is
all right.
You know what that means? It's time to price gouge.
That's right. and it just got really awkward when I try to hold back inventory so I could be at a show, and then I make more sales online than I did at the show. And I'm thinking, I love shows and I love being a show carny, but and I actually miss it. the dynamic, it's a lot of fun doing that, the shows, but it just doesn't make sense from a financial aspect at this point in time. But if that we're working on things that may change that, and if we're successful, I think we will be. You may see me at shows again. But you know what? I've actually had a number of people ask me, "Hey, why doesn't Chameleon Academy have a booth here?" And that's actually a good question. Maybe I'm going to have to consider doing something like that.
What is Chameleon Academy selling? Knowledge?
Selling. I am gracing.
Okay.
The masses with my presence.
Aren't you walking around gracing the masses with your presence if you're at the show? Wouldn't it be better to be walking around? You know, it's different perspectives. There's the attendee perspective, there's a vendor perspective, there's a show promoter perspective, and of course there's the animal perspective, but we can't figure that out. So we just won't ask them.
I know a number of these names that are in the chat right now actually saw me at the show because I did my Chameleons and Coffee live show from the show.
I saw you.
You were there too? I can't remember who's, but
there.
I had a lot of fun.
I didn't watch the entire thing because it was fuzzy and you were all over the place and it was so unprofessional.
They were kind of.
So I had to go to something else that day, but you know.
It was technically challenging. It was the first mobile show that I did on the YouTube app. So,
it was your first job as a beat reporter for the Reptile Show reporter. So, we may not have to. We may not send you back anywhere again until you get your act together. But for now, we're going to talk to you about this show and see what you know.
Well, there's a show again in August.
Today, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, we do it again in August. There's another show in August in Pomona, Super Show. We have nothing, and then one right after another. But I'll try it again there. Bill can send a lot of autographs at the show. Like, yeah, sure.
Hey, we can boost next to each other. Yeah, it's good synergy.
You sold 3. All right. All right. So, Dean, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about you and what your experience with the show is? I guess let's just start with introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Dean. I have a website called deanmesmer.com. Very creative, I know. But I sell grasshoppers. And I've been doing that for, I don't know, maybe since 2016. Okay. But I don't know. I haven't sort of reached out to the public until pretty recently. So, but anyway, about the show, Anaheim. Where do we even start?
Okay.
Because
I can lay down the foundation here, and the reason why I asked Dean to come on is because he actually traveled from the Northern California area down here to Southern California for this show. And that's kind of a different dynamic than all the shows that we've been talking about. And Dean, you haven't heard, so you don't know the context here. You're coming in fresh here. But Sean lives in Ohio. And so most of what we're talking about are the shows he's going to. And it's a completely different dynamic over there. They have shows every month. And they're much, much smaller, obviously. And so you come to the show, you get your feeders at the show. You expect to come get your feeders at the show every month. You see mostly the same people. And it's been a culture clash for us here on the West Coast, where we just have 2 or maybe 3 shows a year, and they are huge productions.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you could go to a show every weekend, and in fact, I usually do. You could go on both days of the weekend to the different shows in different areas of the state, all within 2 hours drive. So it's much different. But you know, we're talking as little as 10 or 15 booths, and the most I think I've been to around here has been 100 booths. So Anaheim is significantly bigger from what I understand.
Yeah, I think it was 700. 700 booths is what I heard.
With 700 booths, do you get lost? I mean, is there? Okay.
You have to go. You need a strategy going in. You can't just be like, oh, I'm just gonna kind of wander around. You're gonna miss so many things if you do that. You can either, say I'm going to go row by row this way, and then you have to go horizontal, or you can just circle each table. Those are the two ways. Those are the only two ways that you'll actually see every single thing.
Is it hard to get in? Do you have to pay for parking? Is the place crazy?
Oh yeah, parking's a disaster. From what I understand, public transportation in the eastern half of the U.S. is much better than over here. So the only way to get here is by car, basically. And there's just all these. By the time we got there, like 3 of the parking garages were full, so they directed us to the 4th one. And then
fourth parking garage. Yeah. I like park right next to the front door usually.
Oh boy, yeah, $20 to park.
Yeah, I don't pay any dollars to park, and I just walk up and walk in. Sometimes you could actually literally drive in if you know the right people. But anyway, that's here nor there.
Yeah, Anaheim definitely has the worst parking. Pomona is a little better. But Pomona, I think the building's a little smaller. Like even though it's an equally big show, like I remember being super cramped going through that one compared to Anaheim, which has like these big hallways through the rows.
So can you actually go to all 700 booths in a weekend? Do you have enough time in the hours that they give you, or?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah, you have to be organized and methodical. I was there for a number of hours and I missed booths because
you get to know people there. I mean, is it just a few people? I mean, I could, when I'm at the shows, month after month, I get to know almost everybody at the show. I talk with them for a couple hours sometimes. So. What?
It keeps changing. The vendors keep changing. There are definitely a core group that are always there, but it's very variable who's going to be there.
Yep, and the stuff they change, stuff that are the things that are sold vary year to year because of like trends. Something I noticed this year is jumping spiders have like exploded in popularity.
Yeah.
I mean, there were at least 10 jumping spiders.
Jumping spiders.
Yeah.
Don't tell my wife. We'll never be allowed to go. I just bought a fruit today from the West Side Market, and it looked like a spider, so she was freaked out. So, the actual spiders. I mean, she's not afraid of tarantulas, but the little spiders are ones that get her or bother her. But I guess jumping spiders are a little smaller. How big are they?
Like that.
Okay.
Yeah, they're sizable.
Right, she's in the background listening. Be careful. You gotta watch what we say.
Honestly, I'm not a spider person, and but I'm cool with jumping spiders. We have a few. They're just like little guys with big googly eyes. They don't look as menacing as like most of the other spiders. So
Chameleon Cartel is here. I see him at let's see what this would I'm just. I keep my hand is not doing what I'm telling it to do. I see the Chameleon Cartel at usually he's at the what is it called? The show out in not Finley, Fremont every month. But okay. Bill okay, there we go.
Yeah, all right. Walking around, people would just come up and say hello.
Mm-hmm. All right, there we go. I'm my hand is not doing what it's supposed to do. I don't know if it was. I was almost in a car accident earlier today. I was driving down one street and someone tried to cross the street and some car tried to come across me and we came so close to being in an accident. I stopped so fast and I was just like, oh wow. And I hurt my arm and my leg and all that stuff. But I took a cold shower, which is it's a power shower. It gives you energy, it resets your mitochondria, so I'm feeling good, but apparently my right arm isn't behaving itself. So anyways, back to other stuff that's actually
I hope it gets better.
Our show's super small in Nevada. Okay. All right. So you pay to park. It's hard to park. There's no real transport to the ones in Ohio because you have to drive, and but there's nothing much in those that I've gone to in other states the same way, close by though. So you pay to park. Now, how far do you have to walk to get in?
Well, that's a good jaunt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is it like 5 minutes?
Wow. Okay.
It's not. I mean, for California standards, it's not bad. But we're used to Disneyland and all these events, so
yes, it's across the street from Disneyland. Yeah.
Yeah, but Disneyland isn't even that big. I've been out there. It's not Disney World, my friend.
No, that's true. That's true.
All right. But okay. So you get there, you get inside. How much you have to pay to get in? Is it expensive?
15 usually.
Yeah. 16. Oh, I forgot. I brought it online. It was 16 and then $3 for service fee.
No, it is convenience fee. Convenience.
Yeah, my convenience.
I was like, convenience for who?
But I went ahead and went that way because I knew I had a 12 o'clock. I had to be on camera at 12 o'clock. And so I couldn't afford to be sitting in a ticket line.
All right.
Because I was pushing my deadline. Yeah.
I'm being asked if I'm planning to go to the SLC show in Utah. Does anyone know what SLC stands for?
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City. Yes. I'd love to. I guess if I was trying to go there.
Oh, did we lose him?
When I was in Vegas on my way home, I was trying to find different shows, but was not at the same time. So I'll try. There's another conference coming up this spring, so we'll see. Yeah, Salt Lake City. Okay. All right. Stephanie Payne is here as well. So thanks, Steph, for being here. All right. Yeah. So now we've gotten to the show. We've gotten parking. We've gotten paid for the show, and we're on our way in. And this seems like it's been an adventure to start with, which is like just this is just foreign to me. But let's go ahead and go.
Oh, now yeah, what happens? Well, and to actually get in, you are in a nice big long line just to get through the door.
The Cleveland show used to have a line when it opened, but during the rest of the time, never. I mean, once it opened and everybody got in, it was because people would rush to the booths to get their feeders or whatever, so they wouldn't run out. But wow, okay, so there you are. You're in the line. Is there a line all day?
It settles down after
at least the first half, I'll say.
Yeah, first half. It's pretty packed for the first half. So for hours, yes, you are going to get a line to park and a line for tickets.
Okay.
To get in.
All right, I lost you guys. Apparently, I got lost the connection. But okay, so there you are. You're in line. You get through the line. You're in the show, and then can you go to the booths now?
Yes, then you can go to the booths.
Yep.
And when you walk in, you see that picture that I sent you, Sean, and I think you posted it to social media. That's from the friend of the show.
All right. So I keep dropping off. I apologize for that. I don't know. I nothing's going on here. My son isn't even home. There's no competition, and I'm not done anything. But I think we've lost Dean here. Dean, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Here. So there you are. Is there like a brochure where you can figure out where the booths are at, or is it something to do online, or how do you figure that out?
I don't think so.
For the week.
I know, but I'm the week, so.
No, there isn't.
So is there anything online you could get to and see where the booths are at, or how do you?
No, Sean, you're just thrown in there and you've got to fight for survival. I
don't understand this.
That's it, man. Good luck.
You gotta lower your expectations.
People lying on the ground dead, or has there been a stampede? Is this like a concert? Back in the 80s,
it happens. All right, things get ugly.
There is a vendor list.
Puts them in the back, and we count them later on. Put them in the freezer like a dead animal. So, okay. Anyways,
for the show promoter to do.
All right. So now, what kind of things are there? I know reptiles. It's probably got a lot of snakes, ball pythons.
The great thing about the shows on the West Coast is, and I'm only saying this because I've heard some complaints about East Coast. But I'm not anyway, is we have a great diversity. There is like your geckos, your bearded dragons, all sorts of different snakes, chameleons, jumping spiders. You got a lot of different things at the show.
We usually have most of those, except for we just have one or two options for those things. So I assume that there's probably a lot more options.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. I'd say let's see, chameleons, we had 3 breeders that I know of. And then you have your basic importers, pet store type things that just fill a cage with some veiled chameleons, and it's really depressing and slightly offensive.
Yep.
Yeah,
We've gone into that before. Okay. All right, Dean. So was this your first time at the show, or is this your 10th time, or what? How many times have you been there?
I've been there a few times, but actually this is the first time going there since moving down. I just moved down to San Diego a month ago, so I'm closer by now.
Okay, great.
But yeah, I've been there a bunch of times. It's always worth going because it always changes. As far as like chameleons go, this was one of the more underwhelming ones, I guess. Not, it doesn't have to be, like Usulis and Parsons everywhere, but I think, yeah, like Bill said, there's just a few panther breeders, and then a cage full of veils, like a few of those, and that's really it. And the thing is, sometimes you'll see Ustillatii, sometimes you'll see Parsons. There was one Parsons. It was like way high up on a stick. I think it was just a display.
Yeah, I don't think he was selling. I don't know. He may have been selling it.
And then there's a guy who brings Mellers to these SoCal shows a lot. I think it's Dale Tamura or something like that. But yeah, usually there's a little more. Usually there's also a few people with Jacksons. I don't know if I saw any this time.
I didn't see any Jacksons.
Yeah.
There were no Jacksons? Not even imports? Wow.
Nope.
There's always Jacksons.
There was the Veileds, the Panthers, and I saw one Varicosis and one Yellow Giant Parsoni, and who knows if it was for sale or not.
Wow.
That was the diversity for chameleons.
Okay.
And actually, I'm okay with that because having all these chameleons, and you know what? I didn't check all of the tables where they have all the deli cups, and so who knows what those people had stuffed inside of there. So I don't know. Maybe there was more.
Yes.
We like to call those the wall of death here in Ohio, but yeah.
Yeah, in some senses, in some sense you're relieved because you don't see a bunch of random things crammed into a cage. But on the other hand, I think chameleons make really good displays if you do it right. I think they're one of the best if you can set them up properly and individually, and have some nice foliage and whatnot, lighting.
Yeah. Chameleon Cartel, his display that he has in Fremont is very much like that. He only brings 3 or 4 of them, and he puts them in real cages and smaller versions of cages, but really nice cages. So the reptile expos in Canada are including a plant expo. Great expertise. Okay. So yeah, I see more and more plants. Did you see a bunch of plant guys?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We had awesome plants and carnivorous plants. There were so many carnivorous plants. I loved it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Growing plants, it doesn't get much better here, like climate-wise. We're zone 10 or 9, depending on where you are, how close to the coast you are. You can grow anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the Medina show, which I'm going to be heading to this Sunday, has a carnivorous plant person who brought a bunch of carnivorous plants and a couple more plant people. So it's filling up, and the diversity of these shows are getting a little bit better. I don't know if it's because the people who've been there every year for 20 years are going away or what have you, but but obviously 700 vendors. Wow, that's just unbelievable. I can't imagine something that big, but I'm going to go to Tinley in a couple months. So I don't know how big Tinley is, but is it as big as the Reptile Super Show? Does either of you know, or anybody online know?
Never been to it.
Yeah, I've never been. I can always see if there's something online.
Yeah, let's just let our viewers know when I get there in early October, first weekend in October, I think it is. I have 2 hotel rooms booked out, and they're even puppy friendly. So I'm going to take the puppies, not to the show, but to the hotels, and do that kind of thing. So, all right. So, Dean, what else do you keep? Just grasshoppers, or do you keep other stuff at home? If you don't mind.
I have a few other things. You can see the chameleon behind me, I guess.
Can't see which kind it is. What is it?
It's a panther.
Panther? Okay.
Yeah. Let me see if he wants to. He's over there, right? Because he sees me. He's like, is he gonna pee me?
There you go. Okay.
Hey.
But I'm not, so sorry. But yeah, we got a couple of bearded dragons, the jumping spiders I told you about. Got some mantises, katydids for feeder purposes as well. And yeah, that dude eats mostly grasshoppers and katydids. When I go to a show, I'll pick up silkworms or something like that. And that's mostly his diet. I have roaches too, just like a bin of hissers, just for the, because we always have a bunch of food scraps. It's like, might as well. But he won't eat them. He hates them.
He hates the hissers?
Yeah, he doesn't care about, he's never eaten any roach.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
He needs to get a banana roach, green banana roaches, right, Bill? That'll
yeah. Mine doesn't like dubia and kind of turns his nose at hissers, but green banana roaches, he'll go for that.
Yeah. Green banana roaches resemble a little more what they would sort of eat in the wild, which is like flying insects, flies, bees, grasshoppers. Actually, I made a whole post on my thoughts on sort of chameleon feeders on the chameleon forums. If you want to check it out, it was a couple of months ago. I think I laid out kind of a long rationale for some things.
Okay. But, so can you share your website again so that Eliza Ann can get to you?
Oh, it's just my name, deanmismer.com.
Okay. And his name is right up there, and he spelled it himself, so it's got to be right.
Yeah. Right. Sorry for the lack of creativity. I'll fix that in the future.
There doesn't need to be any creativity, Dean. It's really easy to remember, and so that's
green grasshoppers,
Reptile
yellow and brown.
Yeah, I mean, I could show you the different types if you want.
Yeah, we want to see.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Be right back.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll fill the airwaves if we get to see different colored grasshoppers.
Hey, you got the Chameleon Academy shirt on, and I've got the McZoo shirt on. I got a new one. So actually, they now have what do you call them? Collared shirts at Spreadshirt that I tried, and I got black and a white one, and the black one it looks great. The white one, the logo looked flat, like it was too clear or whatever. So I'm like, I'm going to have to go in and get rid of that one and not let people buy it that way because you just want to keep doing the customer service there. So hey, while he's gone, I forgot my announcement. Very soon, you're going to see my podcast. You may even have seen the podcast, the Reptile Super Reporter podcast. Bill and I went online yesterday and loaded up the intro podcast on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. So that's the two places it's at. And so it's there. It's available. And I'm going to load up. There we go. See? It's
Apple
got the same logo.
It's
you can't miss it. I did have to look a lot on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I had to look through a whole bunch of stuff. Even though I put the right name in, the full name in, it didn't find it really quick. But
yeah, it takes a while before it says, okay, I guess you're serious about this one.
You do that. But, I also liked and shared and kept did everything I was supposed to do to get my podcast. So it's funny. I'm getting my own podcast in my list of podcasts that are going to be there, but at least I'll know that they show up. So I'm actually going to be sending out a second one. I promised Ann Panette, because she was what we actually recorded our first podcast with. Bill and I did that one. It was almost 3 or 4 months ago we did that, Bill. And I so much has happened since then. I had to do a I don't know. I want to say a post-mortem, but that's not right. After video to talk about all the things that had happened that she talked about. So I'm not going to let everybody know what happened because that spoils the show. This weekend, I should have the second podcast up. We're going to be doing the second and fourth week for the podcasts. Hopefully, I'm going to have them launched by Tuesday of each week. And if I have problems with them, Bill promises me that we'll get together and talk about it on Tuesdays. Anyways, got this thing in my mouth. All right.
Well, I got to tell you a story about, we were trying to find, when I was at the show and I was doing my live show, we were trying to find the shop where Summer Winston was. I actually had to get help from a viewer in Germany to triangulate where to look. The show was so big, I couldn't find Summer, and to the point where they said, Summer's booth is has a sign, Amazon Fresh, behind the booth. So I had to find out where Amazon Fresh was on the wall, and that's how we could find.
Wow!
Oh, beautiful!
That is a beautiful grasshopper.
Yep. So this is
Now, are you in business with someone else, Dean, or?
I do some collaboration with oh shit. Sorry for the language. This guy was taking a dump. I didn't want to do it on my desk. Anyway, all right. So
that sounds like my basement as I walk by my grasshopper cage.
Yeah,
jumping around and flying everywhere.
Yeah, so I do some collaboration with a guy named Kai Fan. He was basically the first person to show interest in my grasshopper. So I've been breeding them since about 2016. I ran into him in 2018 at a reptile show.
Okay.
And then he was interested in my grasshoppers. So he was like, "Oh, hey, can I buy some from you?" And I said, "Okay, that's kind of weird, but okay." I was never planning on like sell them or anything. I was just breeding them for myself. I just thought they were a good feeder. I've been using them for my chameleon and whatnot. It's just a really natural thing for them. They love it. And so, yeah, after that, basically he would in the beginning, after he would buy from me, he would just he was reselling them, say, "Hey, people really like this. The animals really respond well to them. They put weight on like imports that weren't doing well, blah blah blah." I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to this. And then we partnered in the sense that we do some collaboration, and like we have some like shared social media pages where we just like co-promote, because I don't know, I feel like it helps better than just doing everything on your own. And yeah, I mean, business is separate because I've heard of like way too many awful business breakups. So I'm not combining finances with anyone, but yeah, I'm always down to collaborate. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, that's my guy. That's Kai.
Okay.
He has his own big operation himself now. So
I actually bought my grasshoppers from Kai.
Okay.
So I have a couple. I've had a couple rounds of grasshoppers from him. Yeah, I actually have not got them to breed yet. I'm not sure. I've not been. It's a little bit of work, and I don't know that I've got them to live long time, and I've got them set up and doing good, but getting them to breed, I don't even know. I don't know if I've got them to breed and I just missed it, and they ate the babies or what happened, but I don't even know if that's possible. But I'm going to get to it. But I got so much other stuff going on that I forget about them sometimes. I don't forget about them, but I forget that I'm like change the food, change the what have you. So.
Yeah, they're a little different. They're certainly not as easy as roaches, but I mean, once you get it down, it's easy, just like anything else. I'll say there are a lot of different species. I have a lot. So I have ones that will breed really quickly, really easily. If you want to see if you can get them to breed. These would be.
So I'm going to get that to you after this and
sure,
get online and figure it out, because I'd like to be able to do that, because I've got a ton of. I mean, I get thousands of crickets every week. So
so these green ones, the green ones, those are the ones that breed really quickly. Maybe like a week after turning into adults, they'll just breed. You don't really have to do much. The only issue is that the eggs for these ones take a long time to hatch. So it's a little trade-off. They're really easy to breed, but the eggs are harder to hatch. But at least you'll know that you're doing the breeding part right if you get that. So, and there are other species where they're much more difficult to get breeding, but maybe their eggs will hatch in like less than a month, right? So
how long do the green ones take to hatch?
I'll say minimum 3 months.
Okay.
Oops.
But panther chameleons take 6 months to hatch, so I mean, they're not feeders, but
look at that, it's gorgeous.
That is awesome.
Yeah, this is actually the same species as the green one.
Wow.
Believe it or not. So what this is this is a regional variant. Where this one occurs, it's tied with a toxic host plant. So it has basically this color, plus that toxic plant is a warning, like, hey, don't eat me, right? Of course, in captivity, you can feed them whatever you want. They're not toxic anymore because they don't have like any sort of internal sequestration mechanism. It's just, whatever's in their gut, that's it, as far as toxins.
So what are you feeding them?
What am I feeding these guys? I feed them, so they will basically only eat leafy greens. As far as what you can get from the grocery store, dandelion is the best one.
Dandelion, okay.
They'll eat other ones too.
I've got a bunch of those in my yard and no one's spraying them. So, I'm growing them in a couple acres of my yard. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the species, but this whole genus is mostly generalists. So they'll eat water leafy green. But if you want the best results, I'll say dandelion all day.
And you feed them the dandelion greens, right? Not the weed itself. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all grasshoppers are going to be, leaf eaters of some sort. So.
Okay. And so, how do you hydrate them?
That is also their hydration, yeah.
Okay, so you feed them the hydration. Okay.
Yeah,
do you do anything else to hydrate them, or do you put anything else in there, or do you?
No, if you spray it, it's going to get nasty. You don't want to do that. Right. But just as long as the food is fresh, right, not dried out, that's all the hydration they need. And,
okay, that's great.
Good. Stuff like lettuce is very hydrating, but of course you can't feed them only lettuce. There's no nutrition, and some of the more finicky species could die from that.
So, I mean, you're talking about iceberg lettuce, not romaine or other stuff, or is it
any lettuce? They'll eat all of it. For whatever reason, it seems like they don't like the red leaf ones as much, which is always confused me. But I don't know. So I'll say any green lettuce, but they eat the red ones too. They just don't like it as much. You'll notice that they'll eat a lot less.
Collard greens, they eat that, or because the beardeds, I really like the collard greens, and my iguanas like that stuff, so that's what I'm giving them. What about spring mix? Is it spring mix a good stuff for them, or will they take to that? Or
yeah. So I see a question. Someone's saying, any concerns with the hopper's hind legs if feeding to large reptiles? Yeah. So if we were talking about when the grasshoppers finish their final molt to an adult, about a week later, their hind legs really harden, the spikes. So at that point, unless you're feeding like a really big animal, I always clip off the spiny part once they're adults. For nymphs, you don't have to worry. The nymph legs are not that sharp at all, and they're not really hard either. If you see like your animal bite on it, they'll bend really easily. But I have something here where the legs will always stay not sharp. Let me see if, please don't fly away. All right. So this is
Bill and I lean into our cameras. So
yeah, that'll make you see better.
I'm what 2,000 miles away, but I'm leaning in.
Wow. So this is the greater Englewing katydid. You can find these in any state in the U.S. They're anywhere, but I'm working on them right now. The eggs take a long time to hatch, so
actually those I found in my yard, I think.
You can find them all over the place.
Of course, I'm not gonna. I feed wild stuff, but I'm not gonna feed a katydid or something like that. If there's I don't know, something about them. They're cool.
They're too cool. I see. Yeah, they're cool, but when you have thousands of them, it's just food. So
yeah.
So yeah, these guys they don't have strong legs. They're not that spiky, if at all.
Now, when you say males can chirp, what kind of sound is it? How does it relate? How is it compared to crickets chirping?
Yeah, so katydids, it depends on the katydid, of course, but this one is a ticking sound. It's like kind of like that. It doesn't bother me. It probably depends on the person. But I actually won't ship out adults because I don't want them to think there's like a bomb in there or something. So for the katydids, I'm only shipping them. Sorry, but yeah.
How does the care differ between katydids and grasshoppers?
Grasshoppers are diurnal, so they need heat lamp, so they can bask during the day. Katydids are almost exactly the same, but they are nocturnal mostly. You can tell by the long antenna, of course, and so they don't need a light. That's the main difference. Grasshoppers will lay their eggs in the soil or sand or whatever, depending on what species it is. and katydids will lay their eggs. These ones will lay their eggs on the sticks. It depends on the species too. There are some species that I have another one that lays its eggs inside the leaf. You wonder, like, how does that fit? I don't know. They on the edge of the leaf, they just stick it in there.
What do you feed katydids?
Same thing.
Okay.
Same thing. They seem to like same sort of thing. These guys are generalists. Of course, they're found all the way across the U.S., so of course they can eat whatever. But they definitely favor like tree leaves more. They'll eat grocery store leaves. They'll eat the dandelion. But if you have an oak tree, if you have a mulberry tree, if you have a bramble, if you have, I don't know, any number of things, roses, they'll eat it.
Okay.
Elm, what else? Figs. Yeah, they eat a lot.
We got a lot of oak trees here, so that would be good.
Yeah, the only thing, katydids are just not as prolific as the grasshoppers. That's the main difference. They're so much easier to take care of. But one, they chirp, and two, they're not as prolific. So this is the main
So
difference.
on your website, does this all this information there, or do you have YouTubes, or how do you find this out without asking you?
I was making YouTube videos at one point, but I was in grad school up until like a month ago, so I didn't really have time. I might get back on it. I don't know. We'll see. It's just like how much time I just moved, so I really had to scale down. It's a long. I know Bill knows. He made the exact same move that I did, but I had to scale down a bit to make it happen. So it'll be a while before my production gets back to where it was.
So what are you doing in your regular life, or are you doing something related?
Yeah.
Or?
So I just finished my master's in speech language pathology. So once the school year starts, I'll be doing that full time. And I'll just do this on the side.
Yeah, my oldest daughter just graduated from Akron with a university with an undergraduate in. She's going into speech language pathology. She's taking a year off, but she'll be starting.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
cool.
Seems to be a really good field from what I know. So we'll see.
It is. It's very like fulfilling, right? I always bring my bugs. That's kind of one of the main reasons that the type of roach I have is the hisser, because the kids just really like them. Otherwise, I might be doing like banana roaches or something that this guy would actually like. But
yeah. So and I actually had a speech pathologist who worked with me. I had a stroke back in August, almost a year ago now. And actually, she's felt that doing this show and some of the other stuff that I do was very helpful to my speech. I really didn't have a lot of a speech effect. I had effect on my right leg a little bit. Mostly it was my right arm. That's why, as I keep poking at things and hitting them with the mouse or what have you, it's still not quite the same. But I'm back 98% probably. I keep saying 98%, but every time things improve, it seems like I'm going a little further. But then I'm like, I realize how much I couldn't do before that. So it's kind of like, but I've realized I've learned that resting is important, that taking time to do stuff, and things like memory mnemonics and how to do things, and like I've got everything written in front of me that I don't have Bill's name in front of me, but probably the only thing I don't have because his name's on the screen as I point to. But I have everything that I need to look at. So if I get stuck, I don't start to perseverate and get stuck. So, but it's been an interesting experience. But anyways, I digress.
I kind of get it, because I also had an aphasia clinic as part of my graduate education. So yeah, had that first semester.
It was really strange because when I first had the stroke, they had me do the whole test. I don't remember the name of the test. I'm a physician other times outside of this, but it's a test when you draw a clock and you remember things and everything like that. And the first time I drew a clock, I did not do it right. I didn't even know I did it wrong. The second time I drew it exactly right. I drew the circle. I put 12 and 6 and 3 and 9 and I drew and then I mapped out what it was. And then I realized as I was drawing, I'm like, the last time I did this, it wasn't right. It wasn't even close to being right. And so I don't actually have that anywhere to see what it was like. But it was only like 2 or 3 days after the stroke that I was drawing the second clock, and it was really strange. I didn't really need a lot of speech therapy after getting out of the acute rehab. That's rehab for stroke, not rehab for drugs. just for anyone who's wondering, everyone talks about
I understand.
rehab. It's not. I'm just for anyone in the audience who's listening to this and thinks that I went the wrong place or I went to a different place. But that does a lot of good for other people. So, but what was I talking about? But I did that, and I did a few days of that, and then I came home, and I've been getting better and better each week. It seems
Awesome.
like they say it's up to 3 to 6 months you get better, but honestly, I'm at 11 months, and I'm still seeing improvement every day. It's not great improvement because I've had the great leap. I actually got a cold my second or third week out, and I rested. I just stayed in bed. I was laying down. It wasn't COVID or anything, but I was sick, and I just stopped doing stuff, and I improved. Everything got better, and I'm like, wow, rest is important because I'm a 10,000 miles an hour with my hair on fire kind of guy, and if I'm not doing something, I'm figuring out what to do next. So, and I'm probably doing something while I'm doing it. So, I learned that rest is important. So, anyways, we're digressing again.
Yeah.
So
Stress is real.
What you're going to be working with kids, adults? What are you going to be working with?
Yeah, I'll probably work in the schools.
In the schools, okay.
Yeah, that's just mostly what my experience was in. So I'm not opposed to working with adults. I've worked with adults on a few things, but with the kids, I get to bring in my bugs and stuff, and it's fun for me too. So.
Right, there you go. That's if your job is fun, you never work a day in your life, I think is what they say. I'm sure that there's a better quote for that I could quote somebody, but that's true.
Yeah, and also school jobs are just a lot more abundant. It's a really high demand as far as school goes. If you're looking at hospitals, there'll be a lot less opportunities, and I don't know. I don't really want to fight for a job that badly. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing. So I want to answer this person's question. Do grasshoppers like humidity? I don't know if we addressed this yet, but generally no. There are some species from the southeast, and humidity wouldn't hurt, but it's never helped in my experience. And I think actually I said this earlier. Your cage is just going to get disgusting, so I wouldn't do it.
All right. So what else do you breed? Katydids, grasshoppers?
Yeah,
roaches of some sort, or
yeah,
you said, right?
Hisserbin. I have some mantises. What happened with that was just I was back when I was in the Bay Area. I would always do shows, and I swear every like 10th person would be like, "Hey, do you have praying mantises?" I don't know why. I think they saw the grasshoppers. They thought it was a praying mantis. They're asking me about praying mantis. I don't know. So I was like, okay, you know what? Whatever. I'm just gonna be mantis. It's like free money. Everyone asks for them. So I have mantises. Anytime one of those has a mismolt, this guy gets it. And yeah, there you go. But
now, when you say you have mantises, as in you were breeding them?
Yeah.
And what would you sell?
Oh, I sell the mantises individually.
But the baby mantises?
I mean, generally,
what I'm
I've
getting
sold
at
them much bigger.
is baby mantises are challenging to raise up. I mean, you just say, okay, they're all in a cage, and whoever's surviving, whoever hasn't been eaten by the time you need to sell.
Yeah. I can show you something I did once. I just threw like 50 mantises into a grasshopper cage, and then they don't kill each other. They just kill the grasshoppers.
Okay.
So
wow,
that was something I do if I have a lot. And if I have a surplus of grasshoppers, which I don't right now, because of course I just moved. But at the peak of my production, I was just throwing mantises into the grasshopper cages, and they're free to eat whenever they want.
Do you ever sell the Uthecas, or?
I have not yet. I just brought them to a show a couple times, and people bought some nymphs and of course adults. It doesn't really cost me anything to keep them other than space, because I have so many feeders and whatever. But yeah, people really like the adults, especially at shows. They like the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happens a lot of the times.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions, Bill?
No.
All right. Any final thoughts about the Super Show?
Well, we got another one coming up in August, so if you have, I'll get you pictures.
Yes.
You'll make sure you won't just go live. You'll make sure you get the pictures. Okay. You know what, Bill? We all go through that. We get excited. We're there to check it out. We go live, and then we forget to take pictures, or we forget to take pictures of the entrance, or the pictures of the parking lot, or whatever it might be. That you get a little bit more advanced. So I'll give you a list of what we need, and you can check it off. That's what I do. I actually make a list of what I'm going to buy at the show, because I get into talking with people and I forget, all the stuff sells out before I get to it. So I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I needed mice. I needed probably the biggest thing is fruit flies. I can get fruit flies from multiple suppliers here, but it's still overnight and it costs me double or triple what I, to ship them to myself. So just getting fruit flies at the show, like I'm going to go get fruit flies at the show this week. And I get the 2 sizes. So the Hydea and the melanogaster, and I breed them myself and I do that kind of stuff, but I'm always getting lazy and I grab the new ones, and it's so much easier to just buy them and let them raise them up. So,
and they're not really fun. No one's like, oh yeah, I freaking love breeding fruit flies.
Let's see.
James, it is possible. I am not sure. I'll have to wait. I have a travel schedule that is up in the air right now. But if I'm in town, I believe I will. There's a good chance I will.
Hello, James Cross. I recognize that name.
So, Dean, any other thoughts on the Super Show?
I mean, it's a good one. If you're in California, I highly encourage it. It is worth the drive.
I'm going to have to figure out if the conference I'm going to go to next year, and it's in Las Vegas. It's the Urgent Care Association conference, but it's sometime in late April, early May. So I'll have to figure out if it's the same week as any of these shows out there and kind of make a trip out of it. So we'll see. But
I'll just say it's good to have an idea of what you're looking for when you get there. That way you can sort of skim through the things that you don't really care about. You won't get stuck on them and waste time, because there's a ton of booths and you want to get through all of it.
Yeah, there's a 2-day show in Pittsburgh coming up. Two Turtle Tom reminded me about it. So it's I don't know. It's not. It's the Pittsburgh Super Show. So it doesn't sound right, but the Mega Show or something like that. That's a 2-day show. It's gonna be in September, I think. I'm gonna go to that one and see what it's like. But anyways.
James, I don't know, sorry about that. I'll definitely work on it as soon as I get a chance.
You got a grad school. You're used to working hard. You should just keep working, right, Bill?
Yeah,
Bill doesn't know how to take his time and sleep right and do enough the right stuff. So
yeah, I mean, you got a lot of stuff to work on in the house, because we just moved, right? So including scaling up those grasshoppers so that
you can buy them. Yes. And does your website have a purchasability on it, or is it just what is it about?
Yeah. You just click on it and buy it on the website. It'll just they sell it pretty fast. I sell it every week, and then I just kind of update stocks as soon as they hatch, or as soon as they're a certain size. Okay. But yeah, it's really just first come, first serve. Click the button. It's like any other website. Right. Yeah, pretty simple.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, and what else? I'll have more in the future, I promise. That's what I'll see.
All right. So, Bill, you said you got another person to come on next week. Is that confirmed, or can we talk about it, or we still kind of?
It's mostly confirmed.
It's mostly confirmed, but we're not going to talk about it till he's actually here. Okay, I got it. All right. So it's about an hour now. So I'm going to thank Dean for being here. We appreciate your input. Bill, we appreciate you being our reporter on the spot, you'll have to earn the next step of a reporter role. Going to the next show and doing better next time, getting some pictures or something. But you did you met two people, or you met people that you already knew, but you did actually convince at least one person to come on the show.
I did.
That's awesome.
I did.
And that's all I ever want. Every week I just go to a show and I try to convince somebody to come on the show or the podcast. So that's great. All right.
Thank you for the invite.
Mm-hmm.
It was unexpected, but I had a good time.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do it again.
All right.
Thanks.
We'll catch up with you in sometime in the future when you're all set and you've got yourself going. You need a little boost to your business. When it gets to the point where you don't have enough people buying from you. You may never get that way, but
I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Good night, everyone.